friends, welcome to or welcome back to the channel Jane Reads. My name is Jeanette, and today I am going to talk about the 17 new authors that I read in 2025. I should have done this video closer to the beginning of the year, but I didn't, and I'm doing it now. I read 17 new to me authors in 2025, and I'm going to talk about what those authors were, what book introduced me to them, and whether I have read more by them or are interested in reading more by them, or asking for your recommendations because maybe I just read the wrong book by them. Okay, let's dive in. They are sorted alphabetically by author's last name, and I only own 4 of the 17 books. Okay, so the first author is Jody Alexander, and the book I read was The Cryptographer's Dilemma. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. This is part of the Heroines of World War II series. This is book 1 in that series. And I really enjoy World War II setting, so it's not surprising that I enjoyed this book. And I definitely would read more by this author. I am not aware of any other books she has, but yes, I would definitely read more by her. The next author is Amanda Dykes, and I read Yours is the Night. I gave this 3 stars. I don't remember much about it. I just remember that I did not enjoy it, and I really struggled with the writing style. As I said earlier, maybe I read the wrong book and should try a different book by her. So please, if you really enjoy her writing, give me a different book to try. The next author is Jody Hedlund, and I started with You Always, which is book 1 of the Orphan Train series. This is another historical fiction. When I was reading this one, I think I might have been, was I even halfway through? I don't know. Maybe only a quarter of the way through. I was buddy reading this with Alma, and I realized there was a prequel novella for it. So I told Alma, I'm putting it on pause, going back and reading the prequel, and then continuing with this book. So that is what I did. She was very patient with me for that. But I mean, it was a novella, so it didn't take me that long. Then once I finished this book, I binged the other 2 books in this series. So I binged this whole series because I just fell in love with it. This book was my favorite of the series. So With You Always, book 1, I gave 5 stars. The other 2 books, I'm pretty sure I gave 4 stars to, and I would definitely read more by this author. I actually have another series on my shelf. Will I binge that one as well? I don't know. But yeah, so I will definitely be continuing with this author. Then Cori Lynn. I read Hearts Under Fire. This was another buddy read. I buddy read this with Amanda from Book Lover Amanda. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is a dual timeline. We've got World War II. I'm pretty sure it's World War II, and kind of a present day timeline, and there are journal entries, and I really enjoyed this story, and I would definitely read more by this author. I do know that she is working on another book kind of with a similar premise with the dual timeline and stuff, but that's all I really know about it, and hopefully she will announce it soon. The next author is Caitlyn Miller, and I read Our Yellow Tape Letters. I read this for Epistolary January because it was letters. This is another historical fiction. I'm realizing I read a lot of historical fiction for new to me authors. I gave this one 4 stars. I was really invested in the story, but at this point in time, I couldn't tell you a lot about it. But yeah, I would definitely read more by this author. Then we've got another Miller, and that is Nicole M. Miller. And the book was Until Our Time Comes. This is another World War II story, but this one is set in Poland. And we are following Ada, I don't know how to say her name, who is an American in Poland working with some horses, and she's trying to get the horses out of Poland before the Germans come and invade. She ends up working with Brett. Wow, yeah. Who is British, and this follows this story encompasses a number of years, so there is a lot of time jumps throughout because it's like 7 years in a 400-page book. But yeah, I really enjoyed these characters and the historical aspect. Again, it's a little different World War II story than what I've read a lot of, because they're not like fighting in the war. They're kind of in the background trying to save these horses. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Another author was Elizabeth Musser, and the book I read was From the Valley We Rise, which I'm pretty sure is another historical fiction. I'm pretty sure. I did have this book. I've unhauled it because I found it boring. I just did not really connect with the characters or enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. And then I read the Something Borrowed novella collection, which was a collection of 3 novellas from 3 different authors. Only one of the authors had I read before, so the other 2, who were Susie Finkbeiner and Allison Pittman, were new to me. I really enjoyed Susie's story. I gave it 4 stars, and I would definitely read more by her. I actually do have a book on my shelf, which is Stories That Bind Us, that I do hope to read at some point. The other author was Allison Pittman. I only gave her book 3 stars. I just didn't connect with it. But again, I struggle with novellas, so that would not be the best intro to somebody's writing for me. And Kim Vogel Sawyer, the book I read is The Librarian of Boone's Hollow. I did enjoy this. This is another historical fiction, but this one is set during the Great Depression in Kentucky. So it's in the 1930s. And we are following Abbey, who comes to Boone's Hollow to become a pack horse librarian. I really enjoyed that aspect of this story, and there's a lot of faith in this story. I just didn't fall in love with it. There was a certain character that just really bothered me throughout the story, and I just couldn't get over that. I did give it 4 stars because I did enjoy it. And there is a book that I have my eye on by Kim Vogel Sawyer, but now I can't think of the name of it. That's horrible. I think it's an orphan train book. Something. Let me see if I can look it up. Yes, it is an orphan train book. It's Where We Belong. It's a fairly new release. So yeah, that's high on my list of want to read. Then we've got Toni Shiloh, and the book I read was A Run at Love. I have read another book by her I read another book in 2025, and I've read another book by her since then that I just finished in April. And A Run at Love was a contemporary romance set around horses and features the Kentucky Derby. And I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed the female character, who I can't think of her name now, and the working with the horses. Yeah, I'm still undecided whether Toni Shiloh is an author for me, because I did read a Christmas novella that was enjoyable. And then I've read a hockey romance that I really didn't like. So, I don't know. I'll see. I still have another 2 books on my shelf by her that I will give a try to. Then we've got Michelle Shocklee. The book I first read was All We Thought We Knew, which was a historical fiction dual timeline. So we've got World War II and the Vietnam War. And I fell in love with this book. This was a 5-star book for me. I just loved the characters in both timelines. I was rooting for them, trying to figure out how it was going to connect. I absolutely loved this book, and I do not own a copy. I need to get a copy for my shelves. But after I read this book, I read Count the Nights by Stars by her. Then I read The Women of Oak Ridge by her. I have read Appalachian Song this year by her. And I have Under the Tulip Tree on my May TBR. So yeah, I have definitely read more by her since reading that first book. Then Miss Naomi Stevens. The book I read was The Burning of Rosemont Abbey, which is another historical fiction set in England. I gave it 4 stars. There is a bit of a mystery going on of what happened to the brother. I enjoyed the mystery aspect. It was the romance that I didn't enjoy. I felt like it just came out of nowhere and I wasn't rooting for it. I would read more by her though. Then we've got Christine Hill Suntz. I read her debut novel, The Lawyer and the Laundress. This is a Canadian author with the book being set in Toronto, Canada. It is another historical fiction. I told you there was a lot of those. Yeah, I really enjoy this. This does have a marriage of convenience trope to it, but it does not happen until a good portion into the book, like over the halfway mark for sure. I will be reading her next book that comes out, which is The Huntress and the Woodsman, which I think comes out in August. Maybe July. Comes out in the summer anyways, and I definitely plan to read it because I really enjoyed this book. And another Canadian author was Terry Todd. The book I read was Even If We Cry, which I total repeat here, is another historical fiction. But I think this one is World War I. Maybe. Let me check. No, it is World War II. We are following some children that get sent from England to Canada to protect them from the war. They expect it, the parents expect it to be like a 6-month thing, short term. It becomes years. And I was so invested in these kids. I really enjoyed this book. I will definitely be reading more by this author. Rosanna M. White. The book I read was The Island Bookshop, which was a mix of contemporary and historical, so it's a dual timeline. I enjoyed the historical especially. Like, I could have spent more time with the characters in the historical. The contemporary wasn't really for me. I will definitely read more by this author, but I'm going to be looking for historical stories from her because that was where I just so connected with those characters quickly, and I will definitely try more by her. Then we've got Abigail Wilson is the last author. The book I read was Masquerade at Middlecrest Abbey. I gave it 4 stars. At this point in time, I can't tell you much about it. I did read another book by her after reading this one, which had a purple cover. I can't think of the name of it. And I want to say this is another historical, but not World War II. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that second book, but, you know, I enjoyed the first book more than I enjoyed the second book. So we'll see. I'm open to reading more by her. So those are the 17 authors that were new to me in 2025 and the books that introduced me to them. As I mentioned, I found one favorite author that I read 3 books last year. I read 1 this year, and I have 1 more on my list for this month. And so, yeah, I definitely found a new favorite. I really discovered, well, did I really discover it? I discovered it for a while, but I really read a lot of historical fiction, World War II, and I still enjoy it. And I really enjoy the orphan train type stories. I don't know why, but when kids get separated from their parents, it pulls at my heartstrings. it really, like, I'm so invested in those stories and rooting for the kids and what's gonna happen. Like, I just really, really enjoy those. And I read a whole series about it last year. Then I read a couple other books. I have my eye on another book coming up that's about that. I know of another book that is my favorite that I read a number of years ago that's got that same theme. So yeah, that is definitely a favorite trope right now. So please tell me, what new author have you discovered recently? Doesn't have to be 2025, just that you've discovered recently that you want to read more by. Or if you have a recommendation for me by some of these authors that maybe I just didn't read the right book by them, leave that in the comments below. I would love to chat and check out some more books. Help my TBR list grow. Why not? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.